Show. This week on our show, I'm going to be cooking in the kitchen with my assistant, Mr. Crow. Mr. Crow, so what are we going to be cooking today? Carrot loaf. That sounds interesting. I can handle that one. Okay, so carrot loaf it's not what you're thinking, not a vegetable loaf, vegetable bread. Carrot loaf is actually very sweet. Most vegetable loaves are. And what makes it sweet is the sugar, eggs, salt, and cinnamon. Okay, so what we add is 2 cups of carrots, 3 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, 2 eggs, a half tablespoon of baking powder, and a tablespoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, and 3 teaspoons of cinnamon, and a cup of vegetable oil. Okay, so first I'm going to add in the sugar and incorporate it together. You don't have to do this exactly in the exact order. And then I'm going to add the baking items and the salt. Incorporate them. So we're going to cut to an interview. So for another great chef, Mr. Vanderart. Now see, it looks good, doesn't it?
This is Mr. Vanderart, Memorial High School teacher, and I asked him about cooking for his family.
You know, what I often do is cook on the weekends, because during the week I'm pretty much wrapped up busy with school. So we sort of have a tradition in our family where I make pancakes on Saturday morning. And so that's something that people are used to. And so people know that they don't have to worry about breakfast, they can sleep in or get up when they want to. And I usually get up really early every morning. And so I usually get up and get those rolling, and then people come down and there's coffee and pancakes waiting. And
so you make the pancakes from scratch?
Yeah, of course.
That's good. Not most people make it just from scratch.
You know, if you make them, after you make them about 30 times or so, you start to get pretty quick at it.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Did you used to make anything when you were younger?
Yeah, I suppose I was like many people before I was like I suppose many men before I was married. I had to cook more. I was always wrapped up with too many other things, going to school or something. But when you watch people who are really good cooks work with food, how they work with a knife, or just have a sense about food. I even watched somebody break up cheese yesterday, and it was obvious from watching him he had done it hundreds and hundreds of times, and he just really knew his way. So I think it'd be fun to work in a kitchen where you really had to just make tasks like that be second nature.
This is Steve, Mr. Crow's friend. I asked him about cooking for his wife and 2 cats.
Well, in our house, it's a little bit of a challenge, only because my wife's a little bit picky. There's some foods that she will eat, and a lot of foods she'll eat. There's some foods she doesn't want to eat. And so my first challenge is working around her preferences, which still leaves it pretty open. There's only a few things that she doesn't like. And so I take that into consideration. And probably the second thing then I have to think about is doing something that brings a little variety into it. It's easy, it's comfortable to pick out 2 or 3 or 4 things that you like and do that a lot. But if you do that a lot, after a while it gets old.
So, what things do you cook?
I'll do just about any type of any of the meals. I'll do breakfast. I got that from my father. He ran a restaurant from the time that I was around the time I was born until I was probably about 4, 5, 6 years old. And got a lot of the breakfast ability from him because he would often cook breakfast at home for us also as we got older. But I'll often do some dinners, especially if my wife is working a little bit late or has some things going on and I'm the first one home, then I'll usually get started and putting something together for dinner.
Do you have a favorite dish that you make?
I used to, but I don't really know if I have a favorite anymore. Usually our favorite is whatever we try new that we like a lot. That becomes our favorite for the next, 6 months or so. and then we'll try something else new and work with that. Probably our current favorite, again, is something we've tried brand new just in the last month or so, and it was a dish with chicken breasts and long grain rice and some different vegetables and spices. Some onion, some green pepper, some saffron. Just a different blend of spices and vegetables mixed into what is basically a casserole of chicken breast and rice. But again, that was another example of taking a very standard, ordinary dish and adding some different things to put some extra flavor and give it a new twist.
Do you have any tips or secrets you want to share?
Yeah, I've got probably a couple things. Probably one tip is to read, if you're making something, especially if you're making it for the first time, read through the recipe and find out everything that needs to be done and try to get some of the more time-consuming things done ahead of time. Like if something says, brown chicken and add this and add that, and along the way you realize you're supposed to have a bunch of onion cut up, that's something, have the onion cut up ahead of time so that when it's ready to, when you're ready to add that in your recipe, it's already all cut up and you just dump it in. A lot of those things, just reading through the recipe and knowing what you can do ahead of time before you actually start cooking. Because once you put food on the burner or in the oven, it's all a matter of timing at that point. There's a specific time when you need to add something to bring that flavor into it. And if you're late because you didn't have something ready, now it's going to throw off your recipe a bit.
Hi, and welcome back from those interviews. Hey, Mr. Crow. Can you hand me that loaf? Thanks. See, what you do is knead the dough, then get into a shape, loaf pan shape, make it easier to fit this in. Get most of it in. Then you take it, slide it in the oven. Okay, and here's the finished product. Slides out easily. Looks just as good as it tastes. And boom. And we're going to give you my last interview, this Mr. Harris, and we'll come back and then we'll start enjoying.